Hello, everybody. This is Hollywood No Comedy with the double biceps. It is in the contract. It is a legal requirement every single time. If you're on camera, it's in the fine print. If you want your copy, please email us here at the Daily Combat Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, all the good social media platforms, none of the bad ones. So I am here with the man himself, the co-pilot, co-founder, co-existent, co-breather of air in this room. It is, in fact, the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year Award. Dave Stockbridge, how are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. Thanks so much for having me back on the podcast.
It's your podcast. Welcome back to your own show.
Thank you.
Yes, as the viewers should know that Dave and the Real Estate Agents Group, which we can see here, are proud sponsors of the SA Titans Arm Wrestling Club and has also sponsored the Daily Combat Podcast, winner of the Daily Combat Podcast of the Year Award.
Yes, it's been 2 years in a row now, I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've only been going for a year, but it's over 2 years.
Yes,
so
it's that good.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, you and I are both on the judging panel for that critical award.
We're the only ones.
Yeah, we're industry leaders when it comes to the Daily Combat Podcast, and so as a result, have earned our spot. And I think although it is only us in the running, I think we look at things critically and we try to balance things off. And if somebody else was coming up with a podcast called the Daily Combat Podcast that was better than what we were doing, I think we'd look at it objectively.
We'd still give it to ourselves, but
more than likely.
But we'd look at it.
We would consider it,
Yeah.
and I think that speaks to the integrity of the people in control of this podcast, namely yourself and
that's right.
me.
It's pure integrity, and it's our second inaugural year. Is that correct?
It is, yes. It's the second inaugural year. We're looking forward to our third inaugural year. Yeah.
It just keeps rolling on. That word is so hard to say.
Inaugural. I think that's. I think you've added a syllable.
Did I?
Yeah, inaugural.
I like grueling.
Grueling, yeah, gruel.
Gruel is that really disgusting food, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's like it may have been meat once. I think that's the best description of what gruel is.
Gruel, and it is
gruel.
part of
Gruel.
Gruel is part of the inaugural year, the second one that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I think there might be. I don't know if there's any cognate word structure between gruel and inaugural, but nonetheless, I do.
Cognate?
Yeah. So,
wow. I've never heard that word before. That's
cognate.
That's a new one for me.
Oh, well, a cognate, so a cognate word would be a word so there might be several words derived from a particular word across various languages. So you've got Indo-European is a language grouping that incorporates everything from, Hindi to English. They're all part of that same family. And you'll have various cognate words, water, mother, father. These words are very, very similar across all of those language groups.
Okay. Is that sort of like when the internet sort of popped around and a lot of languages that they still use like the same terms you'll find are across like worldwide in terms of, it's very similar sounding into, say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of it. My mind is gone like a blue screen of death. It's the thing that's popping up in my visual memory at the moment.
So you've got a water. So in German would be Wasser, and in Dutch might be Water, and then in English there's water. So they're all three separate words, but are obviously related, and that's because they've got a cognate word. They share a cognate,
and that's why Darth Vader was Darth Vader, because Vader means father.
Vader is father, exactly. So there you go.
There you go. If people were cluey and went back in the days of Star Wars, they would have gone, just like Leonardo DiCaprio in that meme when he's pointing. Darth Father? How is he Darth? That just makes no any sense. Empire Strikes Back comes out.
Lord Father, Lord Vader.
I knew it all along.
It was a tell.
That one, there you go. Were you at the cinema? Like, were you part of that era when? Were you
the Star Wars?
No, that moment when it was revealed, like I am your father. That scene.
I remember exactly where I was when I watched that scene, and
in the cinema.
It was a year 3 excursion. I couldn't tell you why school felt it was imperative that we go and watch Star Wars, but yeah, that was what it was. We went and we saw that, and that was like the pinnacle moment of like, oh God, he's got the helmet off now. He's going to spill the beans.
Oh no!
And get to the bottom of it, and it was like, oh,
wow!
And it couldn't get any better than that. We thought this is amazing, and as it turns out, we were right, because every subsequent movie's been a bit shit, hasn't it? Really,
they have.
And then, it's like the slow degradation of the Star Wars brand that this generation appreciates. But you speak to younger kids; they love they love the movies anyway, don't they?
Yeah, as long as they enjoy them.
Yeah, it matters.
I was disappointed, and I don't know how we got onto this topic, but those first three. Obviously, you had your original three, and they were classics, and everything was great. The story was wrapped up, or whatever. And then, we're going to come up with a new one. Oh, great. And it's going to be a prequel. I hate prequels. Name a good prequel.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah. When they start going in that direction, it's a slippery slope. It's not going anywhere good.
Yeah. Why do you hate prequels?
Why do I hate prequels?
Because I've got a reason. I want to tell you what it is, but I'm going to pretend like I'm asking you.
Why I hate prequels?
Yes.
I just hate them. I don't know. What's the story that's so important that you didn't tell it in the first place? Why are you waiting now? Yeah. Like, if that was the best you got, you would have let us know in the first three movies.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time, 3 movies. Yeah. You're saying you had a better idea before you started, and went, I'll start with the fourth best idea instead. That's what people really want to get into.
How much are they paying? Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Yeah. It's not, that nobody came to a young George Lucas who was struggling and said, "Hey mate, if you give us your fourth best idea, we'll run with that one first."
Yeah, let's go with the fourth best. No, forget the other three. No, get rid of them.
Yeah, and George's like, yeah, sure. I mean, I can do that. I can get Frank Oz involved. I mean, he does the Muppets, and why not?
More Muppets.
Yeah.
As many Muppets as we can get.
When you find that Frank Oz was involved and you do watch those early movies, it does make a little bit more sense, especially some of those little characters that you see that are bouncing around Jabba the Hutt's place. You go, hang on.
Isn't that like literally a deformed Kermit the Frog?
That is literally a brown Kermit the Frog.
Right. They went in the wash with the red sock.
It was like they had these prototypes of characters that they were ready to roll out, and what was the TV? Was it for what? The Muppets. Yeah, for the Muppets, and then they went, oh.
No, that one's a bit too offensive.
And then
too aggressive.
Yeah, then George Lucas was like, hey guys, I got a lot of money. They told me
Muppets for you.
I'm going to film my fourth best idea first. This is what they said, and then just to keep the other ideas, for 20 years after the third movie. But so what do you got? Got any Muppets left over?
So we had these teddy bears that went wrong.
Yeah.
Ewoks. Perfect.
We went to network on a pilot that didn't pan out.
That's right.
Give them to me.
Yeah, anything that you got, I'll take it. I'll work it in somehow. But my issue with prequel movies, not just the Star Wars, any prequel. All of them. The problem is, immediately, if the same character is in the sequel, he's not going to die no matter what.
Yes.
He's completely fine. And no matter what happens to him, he will live through this because he's in the sequel. And it's like, well, you've just completely removed the element that his life is in danger in any way. He can be in the worst possible, no way out situation.
Yes.
Well, he obviously gets out. He's in the next movie.
I think it's all about, creating finding out the backstory, isn't it? Why have we got, lightsabers? What's the origin story there? What have we got? Where did Obi-Wan come from? What happened? So. Well, it's that's why there will never be a prequel of the Daily Combat podcast,
right?
Because we respect our audience too much.
It doesn't get any better than this. Is what you're saying?
No, that's
it's
exactly
the third inaugural year.
Yeah, we always go with our fourth best ideas first. So that's our commitment to you.
That's right.
You're on the Daily Combat podcast.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I'd say I had a favourite movie. I don't really watch movies anymore, but there was a movie that I love Swingers. You know, Swingers. You're a movie buff.
Is that Kevin Bacon?
No, that's John Favreau, Vince Vaughn, cult movie.
Oh,
back in
last
the-
10 years maybe?
Oh no, this is probably a 20-year-old movie now. Really? Yeah, it was where they all got their start. So where Vince Vaughn got his start, and John Favreau got talking to John Favreau, I think he did the Mandalorian series for Disney. And I think he was the director of that, but I mean, he's got both of those actors have got a tremendous body of work. Almost everybody that appears in that movie ended up famous
And tremendous bodies.
and I don't know.
What's Swingers about?
It was just about a broken-hearted guy that was trying to get back out there and get laid, and ultimately, I think he was unsuccessful until the end of the movie. He found a nice girl, and whilst all his mates had a lot more fun in the meantime, it seems. But it appealed to me in my very early 20s. Me and my best mate used to watch the movie religiously, and that was I don't know, but I think it was just a part of who we were at the time, and trying to make our way in the world, and enjoying the nightlife, and I think it was a reflection as to the type of life we would have preferred to have been leading at the time. But yeah, it was a kind of marks a moment in my life, I think. So yeah, so there was that. Outside of that, I'm not really one to be terribly inspired by the cinema.
Really? Wow.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yes. Hollywood Matt Connelly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and is that what got you into acting? Just watching movies and think, I want to be
absolutely.
That. Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
did you remember what movie that was? The first, the one that got you hooked and thinking, fuck, I want to be that guy.
Absolutely.
Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, was it?
That was one of many.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport, that's the one. Yeah, Bloodsport is still... It still holds up. I love that movie so much. It does. Maybe not. I don't know. For me, it does. It's got some cheesy 80s music, which I actually like.
Is there a genre for cheesy 80s movies? Like, could that be a genre that reemerges?
That's my genre.
That's your genre?
Yeah,
that's what you're hoping to reinvent?
Well, that's what they did with the Expendables.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, kind of, but it was really high production quality. And
better production.
with some production quality. But, I mean, it was... I mean that was the template, I guess. But in terms of like the style of 1980s movies,
it was great.
But what got you in? What movie was it?
Schwarzenegger.
It was Schwarzenegger. Right.
It was that whole era, and it was like I was born in 81, so it was like when I was old enough to start watching these things, 10 years old, it was like early 90s, and that like those sort of 5-10 years, you had Bruce Willis was making Die Hard. You had Schwarzenegger making like Predator, Running Man, Commando, Terminator. You had Bloodsport. You had like all these huge, big, strong guys beating the crap out of people. And it's like when you're like 10 years old,
very impressionable. You want to be that guy.
That's the one that I want to be like that dude.
Yeah,
it definitely was for me. Yeah, maybe from 10
So
to...
which movie was it? Was it Terminator or
it was all
earlier?
Schwarzenegger. I was a huge Schwarzenegger. Well, I still am a huge Schwarzenegger fan.
Right from the start?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't one in particular. It was... I used to only be able to watch a certain bit, because it would start at, say, 8:30 and my bedtime would be like 9. And I'd get the first bit and then it'd be like, and then you'd have to beg your parents to hire it on, rent it from... I keep saying the DVD stores. They weren't DVDs.
They were videos. Yeah, they were usually delis. So you get Cobbers, Redskins, and a weekly rental on beta.
Yeah,
for $17.
We did have a beta
for $17 a week.
Yeah.
Well, you were wealthy then. That was a mark of affluence. Yeah, betas, they were more expensive than VHS.
Yeah,
because that was exclusively Sony.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact, and I still liked
Sony.
the fact.
I think it was Sony. I don't know. Sony technology.
Whatever you say.
So like Sony was the was like Apple was, and they had this. That was their patented technology. It was beta. So the cassettes were a bit better, but it was meant to be higher quality. And then you had VHS, which was the lower quality, but it was like the Android. Everybody could make them. So all the brands, everybody else apart from Sony, and then Sony went, oh.
You know what VHS stands for?
Far out. No.
Video Home System.
Video Home System.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong. So he's
Video
like going,
home
"You're an
system.
idiot, Matt. You're wrong."
You're wrong. I've been waiting for my chance.
Yeah.
But right, video home system.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like it makes sense.
It does. It does. It's
Probably
logical.
wrong.
Yeah.
No, it was a question and a trivia thing. That's
Okay,
how I
so
remember it.
so you had a beta system.
The thing I liked about it
yeah,
is that it had the remote control was like a silver box thing, very thin,
Very
like a cigarette pack.
Yes.
but like thin.
yes,
And it had a cord. It was connected.
yes,
the whole time.
It wasn't
Couldn't
completely
lose it.
remote.
You couldn't lose the
You couldn't-
remote.
That was the good news.
That was
but the bad
fantastic.
news is the dog could have eaten the cable at any time. That was the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And invariably somebody would have tripped over it. And they weren't jacked in. They were connected.
Yeah, they
so
were-
if
they
you
were
tripped over
hardwired.
that cord, your video was going across the lounge room. Yeah. Yeah, $800, which in current money would be the equivalent to a $2,500 thing.
Yeah.
And it would literally be strewn across your lounge room and cracked on the bottom. And
I'm not sure how long.
it was a top deck, so you inserted in the top and then push down.
Because we didn't have the beta for very long. This is what's
Okay.
making me question the affluence level of my parents.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't think.
Well, it also
apply.
depends, because if you had beta and it was 1994, you probably weren't that athlete.
Yeah, exactly. You got something that was found in the back dumpster or something. No, it was. I think it was one you would slide it in at the top and press down.
Height of technology.
Yeah, I literally think we only had that for about a year, and then we went to the VHS.
VHS.
and
So
it was-
I think there became a point in time when beta, the selection.
It's smaller and smaller.
In comparison, you had all of this going on at VHS, and then over here you had Gallipoli and
Predator or something.
Bodyline.
Bodyline,
The Bodyline
yeah.
series.
Body Double.
Yeah, and Chariots of Fire. I think
Oh,
they were the final three that you could get on beta on a rental. But I also think that was about the time when video stores stopped being delis and started being like Blockbusters
Yes.
and that type of thing, and it's it became a big deal.
Yeah,
you know.
we had a movie land near where I live.
Wow.
And it was massive, like huge. And I still remember this because they had the where you would go up to the guy, the candy counter or whatever, to actually get the thing. And above him, was,
you got to go to the candy guy to get the thing. Okay. Because
you would either
our
get
audience is comprised
VHS.
of people that don't even know what VHS
Right,
is.
it's a videotape. You get
get a
the
VHS
videotape off the shelf. You
Yep.
walk up there, and you're attacked.
You gave it to a man.
You're attacked by impulse buys
Yes.
from every direction.
Yeah.
Of popcorn and candy and
ice
chocolate
cream.
and this and that, and would you like one of those? Do you remember those ice creams? It was a cone.
But it was marshmallow and the top the choc tops.
Yeah, choc top. Yeah.
Because that was what you could get at the cinema.
That's
of
right.
course.
And
But
you'd be like, "Hey, we're at the cinema, but
it's
really we're
like-
going back home." But once you got through that impulse buy section, there would be a guy standing there, usually.
it was a guy.
Sometimes. And above that guy, there was merchandise that you could buy.
Oh yeah.
And there was, I remember this because there was do you remember the Phantom?
Yes.
The Phantom comic.
Yes.
There was a purple Phantom jacket up there, and it had a big price tag on it at $200
Cool.
for the Phantom jacket,
Made out
which
of-
is made of polyester.
Polyester, polyester and polystyrene. Yeah.
made of old videotapes.
It's the most flammable item of clothing that you can buy. It had an unsafety rating.
That's right. And it was up there for years, and I always looked at it, and it
highly
always
coveted.
said $200, and it was like,
He wasn't budging on his price.
No.
He was staying firm.
Yeah.
He knew what he had up there.
But because I saw $200, I thought that thing must be the best jacket ever, and I'd love to have that jacket. And $200 back then, that's like $2,000.
you could buy a pair of Jordans
You could.
for close to that.
Would they be Phantom Jordans?
Well, that definitely would not be.
I wonder what happened to
Certainly
that
would
jacket.
not be made out of polystyrene.
I've always wondered what happened to that jacket.
Oh, so this doesn't go anywhere.
No,
this
I wanted.
This
no,
is just
no,
you
no.
going.
I'm remembering the
what
jacket.
happened to that jacket.
I loved that jacket.
There was
I should look on eBay and see if it's probably like $5.
I wonder what the people who used to hang around in video stores and movie land. There was always a couple of people that would just hang
sweaty.
around. Yes, yeah, playing, well, not even playing the skill test, and mostly looking at it and
Watching other people.
But that would hang. Where do those people hang out now? You know, are those people now homeless? Is that the homelessness crisis that we're hearing about? Because there's not movie land lobbies that people can just hang around in. For,
They're at laundromats, I think now.
Right. Okay, yeah, interesting.
Anywhere where there's coins.
They went back to the laundromats because I kind of got the feeling that movie land would have been a step up from the laundromat.
There was carpet.
There was carpet. There was a skill test.
Right.
Yeah.
There was more people,
and it was always movie posters.
You know,
did you ever get into like?
movie posters.
Sometimes they were free, and then another. If it was a new release, it was like $20, which was 4 times the cost of actually buying the movie. But
you loved that movie if you bought the poster of it. Absolutely, yes, and you'd be on a back order of when can I get the poster? But then they would have a bargain bin of posters for like $2.
That just had little drawing pin holes and tears and
they
rips.
were
a little bit dog-eared.
Yeah, dog-eared. Yeah. They were, and you go, $2 ones. Never heard of that. Never heard of that. Chariots of Fire.
All Sally Fields movies.
That's right. War Games with Matthew Broderick. Yeah. Who's putting out
anything with Matthew Broderick? No.
Yeah, that's all right. Where's the Schwarzenegger ones? They're the $50 ones. Come on. I'm a kid. But it was massive, that Movie Land place. It was huge. And they had a deal, which was a good deal. It was because for the people who don't know, the new releases, the movies that had just hit the shelf, they were still hot from the press.
Yes,
and they were the ones that everyone wanted, and they cost $6.95 to rent. You could only rent them for one night. And it was a one night only deal. And if you didn't bring it back
by 10:30 in the morning, you were paying double for the second night.
And if you didn't rewind it.
Yes, there was also an additional penalty.
Yeah. And they would check.
Yes.
They would open the box and go, you didn't rewind that. You're like, I forgot. And they're like, it's $2. And they had your memory card and you couldn't go again. They'd bring it up. You didn't pay the $2.
And they got so sick of dealing with those people that they just said, you can just leave it in the drop-off box and then just, debit your card later when that became a thing.
That's right.
Yeah. So they didn't have to confront you anymore. They could just garnish your wages until such time as you'd paid off the debt.
I remember getting a call from Video Easy or something. And I was like, you owe $60 for this movie that was like, I don't know, a week late from like 8 years ago.
I remember a mate of mine had letters coming to him from debt collectors.
Right.
There was about $400 in late fees on a movie that he'd just forgotten to take back, obviously, at some stage. And
still on the shelf.
They were pursuing. Yeah, they may still be pursuing him through the courts right now. It's up to $28,000 in fees. Blockbuster don't even exist anymore. But nonetheless, the creditors are still pursuing.
That's right.
The liquidators are still after.
They want that War Games copy back. We want it back. We want to watch it.
Yeah, we don't even want the money anymore. Now the movies.
We want the tape.
Yeah.
But the deal, so you had your new releases, $6.95, one night only. Or you could get a weekly, which were the older movies. And the weekly ones were the ones who'd been out for a while.
The ones you'd already seen.
That's right, the ones that no one wanted to see.
Yeah.
But this place was so huge. It was literally massive. And they had massive section, westerns, horror, thriller, and they were huge.
And if you couldn't get any movie that you'd ever thought of, you were genuinely pissed off and having a go at the poor.
That's right.
16-year-old
They
on
would
the other side
point
of the
you
counter.
to the catalogue, which was a phone book of movies in alphabetical order, and you'd have to scroll through to see if it was a real movie.
Actually,
I'm sure there's Casablanca too. Casablanca's Revenge. It's a whole thing. I didn't dream it.
There's a prequel.
It was a prequel.
So people, that's one thing that the young generations will never have experience, which is having to chip in for petrol with your mates so that you could jump into the car to drive yourself to the good video store, because most places had a little shitty store where you'd already seen the movies. But I do remember the bright lights of Atlantis video store.
Atlantis
video store. I think there was two, but they were similar to your movie land. They were just gigantic.
Yeah.
And we would literally travel 20 kilometres to go there because they had more of the new releases. They had everything, and so there would be 3 or 4 of you. You chip in petrol, you drive down there, you get there to get your new release, and
you'd hope it was there.
You'd hope it was there, and then when it wasn't, you walked away with 5 weeklies that you'd already seen and you didn't really want to watch it.
Weeklies.
Yeah. Nobody went for weeklies, but that would literally be the night out. Like that would be that was the pinnacle.
It was.
That was the whole social event. It was the journey.
It was a movie marathon.
Yeah, it'd take us half an hour to get there, half an hour to get back. We'd spend an hour there. We'd hang out with the guys in the lobby trying to do the skill tester, and there would be a whole thing. That would be Friday night, and Saturday night we'd try and watch the movies.
Yeah. You'd look at the Phantom jacket. I go, one day I will be in that jacket.
One day this will be relevant to a podcast. One day. Yeah.
I've thought about that jacket a lot, actually.
Yeah, you have.
It just pops in every now and then. You're like, remember that jacket? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I should look up and see. I'm sure that I could get one.
I reckon for $200 meal app would make you one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of styrofoam as well.
Yeah, can he do it out of that?
Yeah.
I want him to do it out of old videotapes.
I'm sure he can do something.
Can he do it out of the Phantom movie?
Yeah.
The terrible one with Billy Zane.
The Billy Zane one. No, I don't think there's any existing copies. I think,
Was that popular?
When they burnt them, the little spirits
went up
emanated.
Phantoms everywhere.
Yeah, it's just
That was a bad film.
Yeah.
He was wearing a purple suit. They shouldn't have gone with that. That's for the comics.
Good to see that they tried to stay true to it and didn't put try and put him in a muscle suit or something like that. Sad news about Synthol Man. Have you heard about Synthol Man?
No, what happened?
You know about Synthol Man?
No, Greg Valentino.
Which one? The one and only,
The original?
the original Synthol Man.
Greg Valentino, a short guy with
no,
a man whose arms exploded.
No.
just
What,
keep saying
recently?
things.
In the last couple of days?
No.
Vincent Ronaldo?
Is it Vincent Lombardi?
Vincent Lombardi. It could be Vincent Lombardi. I'm not sure. Vince Colosimo, winner
No.
of the AFI.
Okay. Well, I'm going to see which
1992.
Synthol man. What did he die of? Synthol.
He died of
He slipped and fell on.
Let me just.
Synthol.
I'll tell you what I'm
seeped
going to do.
into his arteries.
I'm going to chuck Synthol straight into
That'd be the first result.
Instagram. And Synthol Man.
Greg Valentino.
There's literally Synthol studs was the first thing that came
studs.
up.
Oh, that's not.
No, it's not there.
That's not, what was that word you were using for? Cognate?
Cognate.
Cognate. It's not a cognate word to have synthol and stud together in that.
Synthos. I don't know if it exists in any other language group. No.
Synthol.
So here we go. So
Shouldn't exist at
and
all.
just 4 days ago, the Laudable guys, the Laudable team published a story on Synthol Man. So that's Synthol Man on.
That's all right.
On screen.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Sorry, Synthol Man likers. That wasn't the guy I was thinking of, which I'm happy about.
So Rio Vladimir. So the original Synthol Man.
Bubble Boy.
4 days ago, Laudable ran a story, a bit of a piece on the Instagram sensation who. I think in his early 50s, and he measures at something like 35-inch biceps. All oil. All oil.
Yeah, all muscle.
And he just had an operation because his bicep exploded. Essentially, yeah.
Wow.
But things weren't working out. But nonetheless, he said, I am not planning on stopping injecting Synthol anytime soon. That was 4 days ago. He's now passed away.
Right. Is he still injecting?
Apparently in preparation for the funeral. They're just plumping him up a little.
They've just got a Shell oil casket.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
this funeral brought to you by BP.
He's just going to slide his way in. It is ridiculous. If you're doing that, you're an idiot. And that guy was an idiot, and he's stupid for doing that, and now he's dead because of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that he was somewhat responsible for quite the Instagram phenomenon. And you got that Russian lady we featured previously on the podcast who is all Synthol, and he's earned himself some degree of Instagram fame as a result of those outrageous.
Should never be
oil
rewarded.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative attention. People will seek out any attention. But and for people that mightn't necessarily know what we're talking about, synthol's an oil or a substance that is injected to create volume within a muscle. Some professional bodybuilders might use it on an injured body part. It is, if you're looking for it, it can be somewhat obvious. I think most judges will be able to pick what's going on with that, and it makes the muscle present as being puffy, and you lose firmness in the muscle. There's no striation, for instance, where there might be otherwise. And
how long have you been using synthol
for the last 47 years? It's actually my winning formula for the Dave Stobridge of the Year award, and my
secret.
Yeah, well, there was those early years where Vincent Ronaldo pipped me, and I looked at my synthol intake at the time, and I dialed it back.
Oh, okay.
Dialed it back.
You had dialed it back in those years.
I dialed it back in those 2 years. I thought I'll downsize, and
you thought that's what the judges were looking for.
I started dieting down just in preparation, and so about 16 weeks out, I started adjusting my diet. It became chicken and rice, and slowly worked it all down until it was 30 mils of water and a pinch of salt. That's what I permitted myself.
Yeah, salt that did
for the final 3 weeks. That was so I came in very, very nice and lean.
Could they see you like you were that skinny?
One of the dilemmas was Vincent Ronaldo came in very plump and smooth and full and voluminous, and and it wasn't just his perm. It was filled out in the muscle bellies in a way that year I was quite depleted, and so I misread what the judges were after, and I've only got myself and my coach to blame. No, we parted ways with my coach after that year, and got BP back on board as a sponsor, and since I've successfully held the crown. So nice, it's proven to be a winning strategy, and one I'll probably keep with. So.
That's so good. I love how you just continued with that story. That was so good. It went really well. It had a nice catharsis and everything. It was really nicely wrapped up.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you've completely thrown me from where I was. I have no idea where we were. I was phantom jacketing.
Yes. We were.
Oh, Synthol Man died.
Synthol Man,
right.
So we were, it's always sad to see Jim Bro go, but there you go.
Don't feel that sad.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's not nice that somebody died,
Matthew.
It's not nice.
It's not nice,
but he did it to himself because he's an idiot.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So, like you say, he died doing what he loved, and this is what we hope for every athlete, especially skydivers.
Yeah, they don't die skydiving though. They die.
Sometimes
they don't die skydiving. They die when they hit the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a sudden stop at the end. It is hard. Do you not?
And maybe that was the issue there. Maybe he tried to sudden stop.
He skydove.
He would have bounced. He would still be bouncing to now. Like a water balloon that's been dropped from a great height.
Yeah. I'm going to drop a water balloon from the roof tonight, just in honour.
Synthol Man. Oh, yeah. Well,
no,
I'm sure he doesn't mind being called. I was going to look up his name again, but I'm sure Vladimir Rio
something.
Rio.
Oh yeah, Rio. Yeah, that guy, the one. I was thinking it was Greg Valentino.
Greg Valentino
was the original Synthol Man.
Right. Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a very good bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And natural for like 20 something years.
Yeah.
Shorter guy. Never got massive. And he was really heavily involved in that California golden era.
Yeah, right.
Schwarzenegger and then he sort of stayed in Gold's Gym into the 80s, 90s. I think he was running his own gym. He was like legitimately, he knew his stuff. He knew what he was doing. And then, I don't know, a few personal issues or whatever, and then he turned into using steroids and went to the max with that side of things, and obviously put on a lot of size. And I think he denies using synthol.
He did not, yeah.
But he was using synthol. He's that was the original guy. There was a documentary, The Man Whose Arms Exploded. That was Greg Valentino.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. But he put a autobiography out, and I read it. And it was actually really good. Like he's a smart guy. He writes for Muscle and Fitness. He has a column in there.
Okay.
For some reason, he always writes in pure capitals. I don't know why, but that's his thing.
Do you read that yelling?
He's yelling. He's yelling at you
The whole time. Yeah.
He's that sort of guy.
Yeah.
It's a powerful voice.
It's like a conversation with Dan Pena.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's an aggressive read.
Yes. I do not take synthol.
That's right. That's right. Even though I sell it on my website. But
if you are going to buy it from me.
That's right. Yeah. I don't recommend it, but I do. Yeah. So, but his autobiography. So, he's very honest about the way that he had some insecurity issues and why he got into using steroids, and he ended up he was dealing, and he got really heavily involved in dealing steroids, and had some major problems with some of the big movers of like hardcore drugs in the area. And I think at one point he was, I guess you could say, ambushed or whatever, set up that come meet us here at this house to do the drop. And there was two guys waiting for him with a shotgun.
Sure.
Put him on the floor with a shotgun to his head. Took the whatever and the money, and he thought he was going to die.
Sure.
Bullets would have bounced straight off. But he was. I think that was his turning point. It was like, okay, I'm way too deep here. This is insane, and he didn't think it was ever going to get to that point. Actually, he ended up getting arrested for dealing, and because. This is what he said in his book, that because the gym he was working, I think he either owned the gym or he worked at the gym, and he was stealing a lot of the steroids to the guys that were working out there, and a lot of them were police officers, and he saw all these guys as his friends, like, hey, I'm helping you out, you're getting this, I can look after you. To those same guys, the ones that fucking arrested him. So he got a hefty jail sentence. But he had ridiculously big arms. And
synthol induced, or previously that were his biggest
when he was
asset?
natural, they weren't as big. He was still in good shape, but he wasn't humongous. And then he got ridiculous. Like his arms were as big as his entire torso, like legitimately. But he was very candid about that. And he said, I'm very insecure. I'm short because I can't grow taller. I wanted to grow wider. He goes, I go to a nightclub. He goes, with these arms, I get a lot of attention. He goes, unfortunately, it's guys. He's like, he goes, a guy will be standing with his girlfriend. He will mush his girlfriend in the face to get over to me. He'll be like, dude, what the hell's going on with your arms? But he's like, I didn't care. It was attention, And and obviously it didn't end up well in terms of he had an infection and whatever. He had to get part of his bicep cut out and whatever. But he is a smart guy. He's still running for Muscle Fitness. I believe it's Muscle or Flex, one of the two. If you see an article written in all caps, that is Greg.
That's the one to keep an eye on.
I've written to him. He's written back.
Really? Yeah,
it's cool. It's Greg
in caps.
Greg with 2 G's.
Oh well.
GREGG.
You made sure of it.
GRE, good game.
Dysmorphia is something that it does affect a lot of people in sports, and
1 in 5.
Yeah, 1 in 5. I'm surprised it's not higher. So especially bodybuilding is like 94.7%.
Oh, yeah.
There's a certain degree of it, and we were touching on before, as you do get older, and some of the experiences that elite athletes have as they come out of their prime. Mark Soderstrom's launched a podcast just recently interviewing footballers and how and some of the most high profile footballers of the last couple of decades and how they dealt with retiring from the sport but still being relatively young men, and then what's come of their lives and what happened to the physicality in their retirement and the like, and is really insightful to hear those thoughts from people that have lived through that experience. But you do see it in everyday life, and we were talking to one of our former guests earlier, and his experience now that he's 62 years old, and he's been an active weight trainer for almost his entire life. Very strong, very physical, got a lot of pride about how strong he is. Feels like he's still strong, but he's not able to maintain the muscle anymore.
Yeah.
And, this is kind of playing with his mind, because a lot of his self-esteem is built around being the big, strong, muscular guy.
Yeah.
And, there becomes a point where you're not the guy anymore, and how that can impact on people's mental health and interactions with others. And you were touching on having young athletes then all of a sudden surpass you, and it can happen so quickly, and it makes you re-examine your position in a sport, or try and imagine, can I train harder? Can I do anything different? Maybe the answer is no.
Yeah.
And you're just getting old now.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So what's been your recent kind of experience with this?
It's strange. And yeah, so I was talking, it was Tim Johnny. Hello, Tim. Who does listen to the show. He did say that he watches our videos, which is awesome. And we will get you back on the show again, Tim. He has an amazing story. If anyone is interested in hearing Tim's story, it is one of the earlier episodes of the Daily Combat podcast. You can go back and see it. But yes, Tim, 62 years old, has always, as you said, been into weights. So that when you wrap your self-identity up in, I'm a big, strong guy, I'm muscular and I'm fit and I'm healthy and this is who I am. And then you start to lose that regardless of your efforts. Like I'm still training, I'm still pushing. I feel like I'm just as strong, but my body is not reflecting what I'm doing. And it's something that is very difficult to come to terms with. It's like, this is who I am, and it's starting to fade away in a way. And, you could see that that depressive spiral could come on to somebody very quickly. Yeah. Especially at that age, because it's not sort of an uphill battle at that point. You know? It's not like, oh yeah, this is what you do to get it back. And it's like, well, we're not coming back. Yeah. It's I mean, you can do what you can to mitigate that decline, but it's a decline that's going to happen over time, which would be very difficult to come to terms with if you hadn't sort of pre-planned a different. It's hard to sort of explain it, but like I see it all the time because I'm working in the gym, and I see that people, when they're training and that becomes their life, being in the gym twice a day, and that's who I am. I am somebody, whether they're bodybuilding, whether they're training for a sport or whatever it is. But that discipline, dedication, sacrifice is part of who they are. They're there at 3 a.m, they're there at 10 at night. They're always consistently there, and something might happen to them that prevents them from being able to do that, whether it's an injury, whether it's sickness.
Work.
Exactly.
Change your routine.
That's right. And it can really affect somebody very quickly, because it's like, but that's who I am, and I'm going to, especially if they start to lose the results. And even if they're young, they might be 20, 21 years old, and it's like, I've built up to 90 kilos, I'm at 90 kilos, great. And then they had to go away for a month, or they got sick. And it's like, oh, now I'm 85, and they're devastated. It's like, I always say, you've got the rest of your life to train. Like, don't try to train when you're sick. Don't train when you're injured. Work around what you can. But to be in a position where your age is the limiting factor, that's difficult.
And are you as strong now as what you were 25 years ago in the gym in your lifts? Are you training similarly to how you were when you were, say, 25, 26, or completely differently? Have you adjusted?
Little things that I've changed, making things safer for myself, and choosing exercises that are lower in risk.
Okay.
So I don't do squats, I don't do deadlifts. I don't bench press. You know,
Yep.
those sort of things that can, if they go wrong, they're going to go very
Really
badly wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'll use, machines that replicate the same thing and go as hard. And it's like the muscle doesn't know whether you're
Every
bench
gym
pressing.
bros knows that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm just going to put that out there before anybody comments.
Right.
So
Machines don't work.
So,
either.
like, are you, but are you similar in strength or weaker? Like you're 41 soon.
Yeah, so
This year? Yeah.
40 at the moment.
Yeah, 40 still for a little while longer. Hold
Yeah.
on to 40.
I'm holding on to 40.
Yeah, fair enough.
As long as I can.
Yeah.
Because it's still a few months away.
So you're 40 now and been training since you were in your teens?
19, so 21 years.
So it's more than half your life, and see how good I am at maths on the spot.
That was
too.
fast.
It was good. And so
Yeah, clip that.
cut it out. So are you as strong now as what you were when you were, say, after you've been training for 5 or 6 years, and probably your biology was kind of set for muscular growth. A lot of young men tend to do a lot of their growing their muscular growth in their late 20s, early 30s, and can even put on significant size in late 30s into the very early 40s in some cases.
Yeah.
But how's your trajectory in terms of strength and muscularity and size and aesthetic been over that time for you?
Yeah. Mine is a little bit hard to sort of compare where I started, or even 5-6 years into where I am now, because I train a little bit differently.
Did you start off really strong and now you're really weak? Is that why? 'Cause you can't compare.
That's why it's hard to compare. Yeah. No, I'm way stronger in a lot of things than I was at any other time in my life. I am really strong in my arms at the moment.
Yeah.
And bicep curls especially. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked it. But yeah.
No.
Interesting. Yeah.
Spindly. That's what they call me. Daddy long legs.
Spindly Matt Connolly.
That's right.
What's the other alternative? You went
Spangly.
with
Yeah. So arm strength is through the roof. Because I haven't been specifically training like bench press and squats and that sort of thing, the times that I have done it, it's way down, But I think it's more so because I'm not doing it as often. And I used to do it every week, and we'd start with 60 kilos as the warm up. You go 100 for your first set. We go up to like 140. That was, I don't know, you're thinking that's pathetic. I'm not the 200 kilo club like you are.
Long time ago now. A lot of injuries.
Right. But that's where we used to sit. And then we would drop it back a bit and whatever. But now, because I'm training mostly by myself. Sometimes I'll train with people, but whatever. Mostly it's by myself. And I find what works best for me is the higher rep stuff, like the 16 to 25 stuff. That just really hits me. Like, that's where I get the most benefit from.
And was that the case when you were younger, or you didn't train that way at all?
I didn't know that was what was best for me.
So you were kind of that 8 to 10 rep range, that Arnold kind of system, or the Joe Weider system?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I was trying to... It was Ben Weider.
Ben Weider.
No, it was Joe Weider. I'm sorry, I was just...
Was it Ben the dumb brother?
I don't know.
Wasn't there another brother that took over after Joe? So there was Joe, and then there was another brother that kind of... Yeah, it was like Castro.
Joe and Ben.
It was like Castro's brother, Fidel Castro's brother. You know how there was a Castro and then there was a Castro's brother, Raul.
Yeah.
So he's just recently retired, I believe. A year or so ago.
Retired from... Isn't it like
Raul.
Castro, wasn't he like a...
Fidel Castro was like the ruler of, the communist ruler of Cuba.
He like a brutal overlord?
Might have been, yeah.
He's retired. I'm retired.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, he retired and then said, but my brother kind of looks like me. And he's always around.
Yeah.
Make him president. Make him president. So, sure.
Hey, Raul, what are you doing?
Well, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir, we got what?
Okay, I do it.
I
don't know.
Okay.
And so they put him, and I think it was like 89 or something by the time they put him in the job. But
just like Joe Biden.
Yeah, very similar scenario. So I think there was a similar situation with the Weeders, where there was Joe Weider,
right,
and then Joe
Joe Whedon
kind of stepped aside and
from Wish.
Yeah, and his
I don't know.
brother
I know.
took over.
I've heard of both of them, and
Might be
it
Ben.
was a bad
Was
joke
it Ben?
by me. But that when you said Joe, my mind said, "Say Ben, that'll be funny," and
Ben.
it was not as funny as I thought it would be.
What is
Because it made you doubt yourself, and then I doubted myself.
Oh no, it's definitely Joe Weeder. I thought maybe Ben was the brother.
I think he is.
He is the
Yeah,
brother.
he is,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think Joe came up with Megamass 2000, and then Ben's innovation was Megamass 3000, which is just 1,000 times better.
It's 1,000 times better.
Yeah, that's the extra 1,000. I think an extra 1,000 calories.
Yeah, that's sugar.
Yeah. How do we make this better? More. What do you think? More sugar.
More sugar. The answer's always more sugar.
What's better than 2,000? 3,000. 3,000.
I'm surprised he didn't go 2,000 plus.
No, he didn't.
That was
Definitely
not.
Yeah,
You seemed very solid on that.
Yes.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine 2,000 plus would have branch chain amino acids. It'll have your pre-workout, your post-workout, and everything you need in between.
Yeah. It's an all-in-one.
It's an all-in-one.
Right.
Yeah,
Can't do that.
No, well, I don't think they had the technology in the 1989.
Too difficult. You can't mix powders together in a tub.
Science proves that this is not possible.
It is.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
The body can't.
You can't
digest it.
It's
all at
outrageous.
Once. It's released
People
in
are
farts.
ridiculous that try it. They're fired. They're outlawed from the scientific community.
Yes.
What did he do? Oh, he tried to mix two different powders. Oh, we don't even talk about him. His name's Raul.
What do you mean? We've been doing it in Cuba for years.
Mix as many powders as you want.
What do you think our female swimmers always win gold?
We got Megamass 8,000.
We sell it to the Chinese. They love it.
That's right. Where I was going was the training style. So I didn't know what I was doing when you start. You know, when you start, you're trying different things, and it was like, the 8 to 10 stuff.
What was the first thing did you see something that? What was the first kind of thing that you did, like with weight training? Did you go straight to a gym, or did you do some stuff at home first? Or
I was lucky in terms of when I started at a gym. I started studying it. I did a diploma in fitness.
Oh, before you even started training.
Well, I was training at home, but I didn't have any weights or anything.
Okay.
So when I was 16, 17, I wanted to do Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was like, but I haven't got any weights. And so I go to the kitchen, I would get all the soup cans. And I would put them all in my backpack from my school backpack. And then I would sit on the end of the bed and do curls with my backpack.
That's what you would do? No.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And
do you remember what your rep range was? Like, were you just...
I think you had to do about 8,000 reps for it to start to hurt. We need more soup cans,
They were
Mum.
very small soup cans, yeah.
Yeah, they were empty. No. Dog food. No, it was...
And did you do any other movements, or was it just bicep curls? Did you graduate and go, oh, this...
Yeah, so bicep curls, and then I would do 100 push-ups.
Okay.
But not in a row.
Right.
I did do that one time
in a row.
only, 100 in a row, one time, and I remember getting from 90 to 100, and it was probably a 1 each push-up, but
It'll do.
that'll count. That counts. No one's watching.
That's right.
I didn't stop. But, so I think it was like 5 sets of 20 that I would average it out to.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. And that was my thing, but I wanted to lift weights.
And how long did you do that for?
Well, from 17 to about 19.
Okay, so that was your daily ritual.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I was skinny. I was like 78 kilos at 6'3".
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it was like a thin Hollywood Matt Collins.
Yeah.
It's half of whatever.
That's the weight that's in your left bicep now.
That's right, yeah.
So that what's really interesting about your little story was that I just thought I'm going to get stronger. And do you remember those little grey plastic dumbbells that you could buy from Big W? Yes. And they were filled with sand.
I had a set.
Approximately
years later, yeah.
The weight that was displayed on the dumbbell, give or take. And I would, all I knew was like an arm curl.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is, so I would literally just do alternate bicep curls. and I didn't know anything about reps, so I just did it for time.
Oh.
And so I'd do it for like 10 minutes, and then it was like, oh, well, that worked out all right. And
Until the sand had fallen out.
That's right. It was the timer.
It was just a rubber
then,
piece.
Yeah. So, and then that's how I knew to stop.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there was, and then I like, oh, that's all right. Well, I graduated to 15 minutes, and it's like when 15 minutes.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, well, 15 minutes, and it was 15 minutes of shoulder press. So it was like, double bicep curls to shoulder press. And I did that for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half.
Wow.
And then before I'd ever stepped foot into a gym or anything like that. But what was really interesting about that was that when I first started training, and to this day, my biceps or my arms activate very, very quickly and grow disproportionate to anything else. It's like that. Whatever you train early on and first. And I had a friend that all he did was bench press. He had a bench press at home, and he didn't do any bicep. He just knew bench press it gave you a big chest. Right. So he did something similar with his at home, and he's like Bolo Jung now. A gigantic chest. So
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
If there's anything to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there could be. There's some evidence before me here. Yeah, to suggest that there might be.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Hey.
It's hiding down there.
There we go. There's that bicep split. That's what they came to see. Look at that. It's terrible lighting for you.
It is terrible lighting.
Yeah.
It's 3 times bigger than that
in real life.
In real life.
This
is pre-recorded.
Yeah, real life. Matt fills out those the extra small shirt that he's wearing.
It is way too small. This is a medium. It's way too small. The reason it's a medium.
6'3", you're wearing a medium.
I am.
Yeah.
There's a reason though. Because I like the fact that it's tight. That's the only reason. No, there is a better reason than that. When we got all the shirts, made, and everyone in the club wanted them, and it was like, "Have you got one? No. What size do you need? I need a large." I was wearing a large, and there's no larges left. Well, I had 4 of them. So here, take one of mine. Here, take mine. Here, take mine. And I ended up with two mediums. And that's what I've been wearing for like the last couple of years. But it's getting smaller as we go. But we have got some upgraded versions.
We have got some upgraded versions, and there's some very, very cool upgraded versions that you can find on your website, Matt Connolly.
That's right, HollywoodMattConnolly.com. You will find all of our designs. There is individual designs for each arm wrestler in the club, especially special designs made on each shirt. So specific to each person.
Yes, very, very good. If you jump on there now, you can pick yourself up a little bargain before prices go up.
That's right.
So, you can choose from all of your favourite characters. Maybe your favourite character would be Hollywood Matt Connolly, for instance. In which case,
it does happen to be a double bicep on the picture.
Yeah, what a surprise!
I put that shirt on because. I got it ordered. It was too small, but the order. I have another one coming.
Oh, yes.
I'm hoping it's bigger than this. But the one that came was supposed to be large, and it was not large.
Not much bigger than what you're wearing.
It was like extra small. It was way smaller than this. It was like your one that you got.
Yeah.
It was a crop top.
Yeah.
But I put it on, and it's my picture on the front doing a double biceps. I did the double biceps in front of my daughter, with that shirt on, and I said, look, who's this on the shirt? And she's like, I don't know.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't know who it is. I'm like, it's me. And she's like, no, it isn't. Doesn't look anything like you.
You're you.
It's me. This is a drawing of me from a photo I sent. Doesn't look like you. Go away.
Market research over.
Don't you have homework to do? What are you doing up at this night? Isn't it a school night?
6:30.
Yeah, that's right. That's it, to bed. Those early years, I mean, you're trying to figure out what works for you. And this is one of those things that I say to people who are training, especially, I mean, because I'm working in the gym and I'm chatting to people that you find the people that are passionate.
Yeah.
And you're either going to find somebody who commits to it and then they're a lifelong fan of lifting weight.
Yeah.
All the people that will come in, yeah, this isn't for me. It's hard work. I don't want to do hard work.
Yeah.
I just want the results.
Yes.
And then they're out the door.
Yeah.
But the people that do commit and they stay for 6 to 12 months, and then while they're sort of trying to figure out the movements and understand the coordination of how to do different things, and then learning different exercises they've never done before, it's like, well, these are you've got your bench press here and your legs and that and whatever, and you're explaining different techniques, different ideas. Maybe they prefer the dumbbell press instead of the bench press, and but you don't know that when you first start. It's sort of like you've got to gravitate towards that. So over the years, you're gonna refine it to the best thing that works for you, and that's what I did over years. But the interesting thing, the reason I'm talking about this. There is a point to my rambling.
Unlike my Vince Colosimo.
Yeah, that's right. That was great. That was the best bit of the podcast. That's the only bit I'm going to put up.
That's the edit.
That's right. The whole show's built around it. Well, I would love if we could get Vince Colosimo. Vince Ronaldo in.
Yeah. I'll challenge him to an arm wrestle.
Yeah.
I'll take him down. I think he's 78 or something now.
I think so.
I'll take him out.
Full synth.
I don't care. He's going down.
Yeah, that'll be amazing if you. It's not like it's hard. I'm sure he's just
arm wrestle him in a movie land.
Oh yeah, with a Phantom
title. Yeah, as the prize. The winner takes all.
Yeah,
Phantom
$200.
Yeah,
probably still $200.
Yeah.
You still got it somewhere.
And if he wins, he can have the Dave Strawbridge of the Year award. Yeah, the ones from 92 and 93 that he took for.
You'd get him back.
But there was an incident at Vincent Ronaldo's home some years after his victories there, and just miraculously those trophies had disappeared.
Nothing else was taken.
So, not as far as I'm aware. It was peculiar.
You didn't take anything else?
As far as I'm aware, police are still investigating. Yes, but
it's an open case. It's a cold case.
It would appear, yes. Is
there a movie being made about it?
I'm not sure.
Is it starring Vince Ronaldo?
Yes, but anyway, let's just say the mystery continues. But they've not been seen.
Never to be sold. Since. I don't think I've seen them at your house. But
no,
definitely not.
No.
I'm getting a Dave Stockbridge trophy made. I'm gonna do
it. You need 47 of them now.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So yes, but when you discover the thing, the point of my story. So I met one of the guys I was doing security with, who has a similar build to me, tall. He's a lot bigger than me. He was 140 kilos.
Right.
You
a similar
met him
build
at my birthday.
Oh, that's not a similar.
Oh, that guy.
That's not a similar.
No, he wasn't a similar build, but in terms of his height and the arm length and that sort of thing. Like,
okay. So he's similar in every way, just
except
three
for the
times more muscular.
amount more muscle. Yeah.
He might be singularly the largest muscular human being I've stood in front of.
Yeah.
He's a remarkable man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And in his 40s, late 40s.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yes.
Insane. Like superhero size.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It was 140 kilos when we were training together. We trained for 8 years.
Muscular 140 kilos.
Yeah. But I got my best gains training with him because he was so much stronger than me.
Was that just picking up the weights and putting them on for him?
Pretty much. Yeah. My arms really and pushing the weight on.
And spotting him.
Yeah, that's right. It was hard spotting him. It's hard work. Doing 50 reps with 100 kilos.
Yeah. Far out. Yeah.
He's a strong guy. But when somebody is that much higher in terms of their strength level than where you are, you're seeing things that are now possible that you didn't think were possible. You've never seen anybody do it before. Somebody's doing something you like, and they're doing it right in front of you, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize that people could go that heavy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, so my strength increased significantly, and he was doing the higher rep stuff.
Ah, okay. So it was like the gateway drug to this high volume training.
That's right. And I had been doing, prior to that, I'd been training with a couple of other guys from when we were doing security, and we were doing very low rep stuff, very heavy,
There was that time when the Dorian Yates 1 rep max training became very, very popular amongst many people of our kind of vintage that came to bodybuilding as a result of Arnold Schwarzenegger, because like literally, you had Lee Haney, but then there was Dorian Yates, and he was the guy, and he was doing like 1 rep max sets, and that became the fashion for a period for
Absolutely.
young men in the gym.
That's right. So we were doing very, 4 reps would be max sort of thing, and I was getting some results, not great, and my form was terrible, and it was a lot of cheating going on with the weight.
A lot of yelling, a lot of encouragement from your training partners. A lot of backslapping. A lot of coming. This is all yours.
You can do it.
One more. One more. No, one more.
No, one more.
One more.
All right, you've done enough now. Stop showing off.
All you.
It's all you. You've got it.
You got it. Rack it out. Rack it out. That was all you, mate.
Yeah,
I didn't touch it. Didn't touch it.
They've literally lifted the whole weight.
Why were your knuckles white the whole time? No.
I was just balancing the bar for you. Yeah. So the strength increased when I started training in that style of the higher rep stuff. It just was like, well, this really works for me. And now I can't really go back. Like if I do low rep heavy stuff, I just don't feel anything from it. Like I don't get anything out of it in terms of muscular growth. So for me, that's what works best.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty consistent theme with a lot of people, especially those that have been training over some length of time and then find themselves as they're getting older as well. Like there's that one thing, you're wise enough to try and avoid injuries. You spend half your workout now warming up instead of doing work sets.
The stick. You see the people that get the broomstick? They spend 15 minutes with the broomstick.
Yeah. There's I
used to hide the broomstick.
The most. There are some people that they love that stick.
They love that, and they would hide it, and then they'd spend 15 minutes looking for it. And then I would put it back like in the spot where it should be.
That's what they get for using the stick.
Yeah, don't use the stick.
Just get in, just start working out. But yeah, so you kind of, and I would say for me, when I worked out that I wasn't going to be, setting any more PBs, that I wasn't going to be physically getting any stronger, and that was in some part because of injury. Whenever I've returned, because I oscillate in and out of weight training and kind of have for most of the time, so I might train consistently for a couple of years and then patchy for 6 or so months and then get back into it and for a year and then be patchy for a few months. And I find that those patchy periods are really good for my recovery. And I don't lose much during that period of time either, but I certainly feel better for being repaired. And then, when I feel the time's right, I'll start getting into it again. And, it takes a month or so to kind of be back up to where I was strength-wise. But I have noticed now that there's, in terms of all-out strength, I'm in complete acknowledgement that I'll never be benching or pressing or doing any of that. But the high-volume rep ranges, especially for our sport, are really beneficial, and I find just getting blood in there is enough. But I do find now that having been more muscular previously, that if I don't maintain some degree of muscularity, my skin feels terrible, the depleted nature. Saggy. Yeah, no, it's just not, it's not, the collagen's not there anymore. The elasticity has gone from the skin, and so it's that thing of, we just got to kind of try and look after what we got now, try and keep it all together from.
Don't tell me that.
Here on in, mate. Yeah, but I think that never has there been a time in history, if we think back even a century or so ago, the average life expectancy during the Spanish flu of 1910 was 54 years. Go back to 1760, working people lived, young miners didn't live much longer than 30 years of age. You were considered old if you were a miner, and you and you lived till into your 30s because the conditions were so terrible. And we're living in an era now where you've got jacked 60-year-old dudes that are they're strong and they've not let go of their physicality at all, and they're still able to do all the things that they could do 20, 30 years earlier. And we're into uncharted waters in terms of longevity and how we, as people that have been enthusiasts of weight training and strength and combat sports and sports just generally, one of the great things is if you can maintain some degree of muscularity, well, maybe your chosen sport goes from being powerlifting to arm wrestling, which you can play forever. Or, maybe it stops being football and starts to become something else that has less impact on the joints, or, so you don't see too many old netball players.
True. Yeah.
So it's finding a pathway, and I think this is one of the dilemmas for many people in combat sports as well. Like it's a young person's sport, much like football, and if you're in your early to mid 30s and you're still fighting, it's probably because you're really good and world class. But otherwise, it's a very difficult sport to remain passionate about, because without that. Without being world class, and the maybe some of the income that can be derived from doing that, the diminishing returns associated with being a competing combat athlete in your 30s and 40s is going to have a negative impact on how the next 10 or 15 years goes in your health. So
this is a hard topic for me, because it's like,
because you're old.
No, I'm not old.
Getting old?
No, we're sort of. It's
got
like
saggy muscles.
No, I don't.
Yet.
No, never. No, I don't know. It's like I am completely wrapped into my self identity is 100% wrapped into like that. Like, this is I need to be what I look like, and I know it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I know it shouldn't.
It's ultimately not healthy, but yes.
I'm very aware of it, but it is.
Yeah,
and it's like I am the guy I was talking about before. If if I lost 10 kilos, I'd be like, I would be feeling terrible.
Yeah. It's dysmorphia. Yeah, it still plays on your mind.
It is. Yeah, I see myself as this, and that's what I want to maintain, and ideally get better at.
And it's kind of counter to the culture that suggests that whatever you are is perfect.
Right.
Not you're perfect the way that you are, but you obviously feel like there's an optimal image of yourself, and you want to do everything you can to remain in that image. It would appear.
Absolutely. Well, progress equals happiness.
Yeah.
If you're progressing and you're working hard and your efforts are being rewarded with something, then you'll continue doing it. Like, you get a reward for your effort. If you're not getting a reward, and in fact you're losing, it's like that's where it's like, oh my God, this is not. I didn't want this to be happening.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing, because throughout my whole life leading up to this point, effort has always been rewarded.
Yeah. And now there's diminishing returns associated with your efforts.
That's right. And to a point where it'd be like, it doesn't matter how hard you go.
Yeah. You're
actually going to continue to lose. And then you have to find happiness somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, but this is who I am. Do you know what I mean? It's a very difficult thing to let go of.
Do you draw any solace from, say, arm wrestlers, for instance, where you've got John Brzezinski, who's in his late 50s, 58, 57, 58 something, and say Crazy George just won a tournament at the age of 72, and in quite a courageous way. And so you've got within your sport, for instance, you've got some real role models there that are still excelling at the highest levels of the sport into their 50s, 60s, and in Crazy George's case, even into his early 70s.
If I didn't look the way I wanted to look,
okay,
it wouldn't matter.
You've got that aesthetic in mind.
Which is not I know it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I know it. But it's like that. And this is one of those things that was very difficult to let go of to start arm wrestling. Like bodybuilding, being big, strong, muscular, whatever, that is who I am, who I want to be. And then it's like, when you do arm wrestling, your arms are destroyed.
Yeah.
You can't lift or move your arms for a week. And I remember having that thought. I think I've talked about this before. Do I enjoy this enough to sacrifice that I can't train biceps as hard as I would like to?
Can I forgo my first love?
Yeah,
This new,
exactly.
new plaything.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it was a very difficult decision but luckily, I don't know. It was like that. Well, I guess luckily the arm wrestling is so much fun and I enjoy it so much that I was willing to sacrifice that. And I'm glad that I did, because now I have something else that I can really enjoy and push forwards with.
Yeah, I think it was interesting in our conversation last week with the Aussie arm wrestler Jake Ward, who spoke about that moment where he decided for me to have credibility as a arm wrestling influencer, I have to stop arm wrestling.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's damaging to my brand and authority in the sport. And and you're saying the same. But interesting that that doesn't seem to be diminishing his ability to make an impact in the sport. And and finding those new pathways and finding those new ambitions that aren't necessarily intrinsically linked into either the sporting prowess or the aesthetic. That's kind of where you're meant to naturally grow. But because youth culture, our culture is very much a youth culture, and it has such an emphasis on the aesthetic and how people look, and it becomes very difficult for people that have imbibed that culture to kind of leave it behind and pursue those other things. And
I think there's going to be a really difficult road ahead, like in terms of trying to let go. I don't want to. You know what I mean? I know straight away. It's like, I'm not going to. It's my thought. I'm not going to.
I'm not going to. I'm going to
not
fight
gonna
this
get old.
every inch of the way.
I'm completely delusional about that.
Do you feel as good now when you get up out of bed as what you do did 20 years ago?
I feel better.
You feel better getting up? Yeah. Well, that's
Kicked my ass for 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's super interesting. And I think that people that are, in their 30s, 40s, 50s. I mean, it can happen at any time where people feel like they're past their best.
Yeah.
It's sometimes there is that second wind and that next wave of whatever it might be in terms of your physical development that is a pathway that you never saw. And in some part for you that's been arm wrestling, and there's only so far you can go in doing weight training, and then to then find something that's applicable to that you also love. And it's very difficult. It's for a lot of athletes to make that transition, but I think maybe easier in arm wrestling than in other sports, for instance.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I found it and it's there, and then it's awesome and supportive, and we have this community that facilitates it. I think it's like an addiction with lifting weights and being strong. I really do. I can't not do it. I can't not do it. You know what I mean? Like if you said, okay, we're going to be on holiday for a month with no gym,
that'd freak you out.
I'm gonna be training still. I don't care. I'm gonna be doing push-ups on the floor. I'll be lifting those soup cans again. I will. I can't not do it. It's just, and it's hard to think to get to a point where maybe you can't do it anymore. Yeah. Or if you do it, you might hurt yourself, or you just, no matter what you do, you're still getting weaker and older. It's like when you say find a new direction, leave that behind. Immediately I'm feeling it's not going to happen. Like I'm being completely honest here. My thought is no, it's not going to happen. Yeah, you're just going to keep doing it. Yeah, and it's like there's nothing in the world that I could. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, if you're still feeling good and you're still feeling strong and you're feeling better when you get out of bed now than what you did 20 years ago, there's no indication as to. There's no imminent reason for you to even reconsider at this stage. I mean, it's actually working for you.
Yeah, but do you feel sometimes obsession? I'm obsessed. I don't know, maybe a little bit. can own you though.
Yeah, 100% it can, and but you're ultimately in control of your. Some people aren't, So awareness is very very important. So if you can understand that you've got those slightly addictive tendencies, and then you weigh it up, I mean, you can have perfectly well functioning drug addicts in society. I mean, we see a lot of that, and you see with for instance, yourself, that the fact that that is ingrained in you to train as vigorously and as consistently as you do, that's and to not do that would cause you some degree of angst. Is maybe that thing, maybe it is the angst that'll be that thing that stops you from falling into poor health, or that might just be that thing that stops you from falling over in your old age, or could be that thing that just is the right thing at the right time. And I think that there's if you're not doing everything that you think that you can do to address a situation, then you will invariably feel depressed about that situation. So if you are aware that there are things that you can be doing with respect to longevity, being strong, having a quality of life until the end, then you've probably got every right to feel a little bit anxious or whatever it might be about it. Because I mean, it's actually is it entirely natural? Well, some people would say, "Oh, you should be happy with however you are." Those people are rarely happy. You're always driven by a goal or an ambition or a focus, and if that is, a big part of being able to drive towards anything is having the energy and quite naturally the physicality to be able to pursue all those things that you want to. So, it doesn't sound like it sounds to me that it's something that's serving you well. If those things were being detrimental to your ability to pursue other things that were important to you, or were serving to be an obstacle in relationships that are important to you, then I think at that point you've got something to reconsider. But if you're just somebody who just feels compelled to go to the gym because it's very much it's a ritual. If it's a ritual, then there's a reward structure there. The reward is the feeling of accomplishment after that workout, and the endorphins that are released, and the neuro pathways that are opened as a result of that, could be leading you into success in other areas, in your creative endeavours as well. So, it's one of those things. There's more than just the physicality side of things that, weight training or gym work or physical exertion. Steve Maxwell's a great practitioner of a lot of longevity practices and has developed a whole bunch of protocols over time, whether that be breathing protocols or self-massaging protocols or daily routines. You like the self-massaging ones.
I knew you were going to bring it up.
Self-tapping, self-massaging. And there's some of our listeners will be big fans of those techniques.
What a practice.
The practice of the techniques, the self-massaging techniques.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Special brush.
There is a very special brush. But he's been a big practitioner, and what he was saying about muscularity was that, and because you do tend to, it doesn't feel like he's lost an enormous amount of strength or functional strength. Flexibility and mobility have become now the primary drivers to his training, and so now he doesn't need the strength in order to press a weight or in order to be stronger in wrestling or jiu-jitsu. He needs the strength in order to have the stability, to have the flexibility, to have the utility, and the reward is still being able to move around like a relatively young man as he approaches his 70s.
Yeah.
So, and would he be capable of doing that if he hadn't been doing weight training for 30 years? And the answer is, well, probably not as well prepared, or certainly mightn't have had necessarily the discipline to either, because there's a certain discipline attached to putting yourself through something that's painful every day for some degree of delayed gratification, and there's some kind of honor associated with that as well. It's a self-honoring first and foremost, but it's also an honoring to is honouring the discipline for itself, and for many people that's very esteem building, because you're upholding a commitment primarily to yourself, and it's very easy to not do that. It's very easy to sleep in. It's very easy to, no one's going to yell at you if you're an adult and you sleep in for an extra 20 minutes. No one's going to be upset at you or disappointed if you miss out on leg day. And and so there's nobody else out there, so there's got to be a high degree of self-respect in order to, and wherever you draw your motivation from, and it might be a negative emotion, as we've discussed on the podcast before, where you derive your motivation for putting yourself through that workout, but it's really a self-honouring process, because on the other side of it, you've taken that negative energy and being able to convert that into a positive result, and in so doing, you've been able to process that emotion in an entirely appropriate way. You haven't lashed out at your partner in an argument or called a work colleague a name you shouldn't have, or said something inappropriately or disrespectful to somebody that you do like. You haven't done those things. What you've done is that you've done 2 reps more than what you thought you could at the gym.
That's right. And
put a bit of sweat on your brow, and hopefully cleaned up your sweat off the bench afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's finding I think there's a very simplistic view of bodybuilding or weight training or whatever it might be, and it seemed to be thought of in a hierarchy of, well, if you're going to be an extreme weight trainer, then you're probably going to be a bodybuilder or whatever. But there's, there are, for every competitive bodybuilder that might be out there, or competitive powerlifter that you might see out there, there are tens of thousands, if not millions, of guys and girls that are just going every day for their own self-esteem and their own self-respect, and to test themselves, and it's a very much an inner journey that's going on. Although what they might be seeking to achieve is something that has some external aesthetic appeal as a result of it, but it's very much the side effect of the dedication, the discipline, and the work ethic that's associated with creating something of that nature. And you'll often find that that's applicable across the spectrum of other experiences as well. A lot of people that are high performers in one area are able to convert that into high performance in another area that's important to them, not necessarily across all of the spectrum of experiences, but certainly there's some transference there, and it's not in the strength, it's not in the ability to bench press, and it's not what it is it's the transference of the discipline and of the work ethic and of the self-respect and the respecting of others and the processing of negative emotion in an appropriate way, and the way that in itself helps you be a better person to be around. All of these things are of great importance to somebody's overall well-being, and I think are often underestimated or not well considered by people that might be critical of just gym junkies.
Right, exactly. Man, that was an amazing little dialogue there. That was, you summed up a lot of points very succinctly. And it was no, you hit the nail on the head with so many different things there. The accountability, the self-confidence. People say, how do you build self-confidence? Well, you make promises to yourself and you keep them.
1 rep at a time.
That's it. It's what it is. I'm setting the alarm for 6 a.m. When the alarm goes off, you get up. That's one little win. And you build, okay, well, I'm going to make my bed. That's 2 wins. I'm going to make the food that I made out for last night. There's 3. And you build that up over the day, and you're making all these little victories. And it's like that day, next day, next day, next day. By the end, if you're doing that for years, you have a fantastic view of who you are, because you're like, I'm a good person who does the right thing for myself. And that's where your self-confidence come from. That's where your positivity mindset can come from. And when negative experiences do come, it's not going to knock you down as badly as what it possibly could, because it's like, hey, we've got all these awesome things going on every single day. There's one negative thing, we'll figure it out. We'll get through it. But it's like you're getting 1,000 awesome experiences or wins throughout your entire day, every day of the year. So that spiral up is continuous, and it's like that's so important to have that. And I think that a lot of people do the opposite, where they have a negative, and they sleep in, or they're late, or they didn't iron their shirt, or they didn't, they're speeding, and then these things lead into other things, and then and they spill the coffee, and it's like negative. I'm having the worst day, and then they're angry at somebody, and they yell at their boss, and then and it's like that spiral over years can go the complete opposite way, and you get somebody who's very bitter and very toxic, and it's like they can't see a way out of, even if they want to change, they don't know how to do it.
And because they're going through this process of deferring things, not willingly accepting a challenge, or facing a challenge that's before them, even if that is just getting up at 6 a.m. instead of 7:30.
Yep.
Because they're not willingly confronting these things. Because there might be a little bit of pain involved, or there might be, there's pain involved in getting up early, there's pain involved in pushing the weights, there's pain involved in having 2 showers a day instead of 1, there's pain involved. But the people that tend to do exactly that, who hold discipline, that have work ethic, who are prepared to willingly confront the challenges, even the small challenges, they're not necessarily big. The accumulation of small challenges met generally lead to big opportunities.
That's right.
And so people that are always doing that, they mightn't necessarily have more money or a flashy car or a better house to live in, but I can tell you that they're always nicer people to talk to. Mm-hmm. These are people that are, they're on their game, they're interested in life, they're high energy. They're up for a challenge. They're the people that are always sticking their hand up, that want to do more, always do more than that's asked for them. They're the people that have got enough left over for everybody else, because they've not because they've kept all of this to themselves, but because they've attended to themselves first and now understand that they've got more to give, rather than not attended to anything and don't understand whether or not they have anything to offer. Mm-hmm. And, if people are experiencing challenges in their own lives, and often I'll have people that will ask for advice over, how, their circumstances. It might be, I'm struggling in work, can you, help us out? We see that things are going okay for you. What are you doing? And it's like, well, first thing I ask people is, what time do you get up, and how many times do you hit the snooze button? Are you an away motivated person, or are you a toward motivated person? Are you motivated towards achieving a challenge or away from pain? And do you understand the difference between the two? And if you're motivated towards away from pain, then you're probably that person that hits the snooze button 5 or 6 times. And if you're motivated towards great things, then you're probably going to jump out of the bed, and you're probably going to go and derive joy from consistently achieving small things that lead to bigger things.
That's right.
People's daily structure, and for me, it very much starts the first thing that you do in the day. I won't say the morning, because there's plenty of shift workers, people that do the work in interesting times, like Oliver Matt Connolly, for instance.
I haven't slept since yesterday. I've been up all night, and I'll be up all night tonight as well. The first thing that you do in your day is often the most important thing, because it's actually going to frame your thoughts for the day. Like, you can imagine the difference between getting up and realising that you've slept in, missed the alarm, and you see the clock and it's 20 minutes into what should be your work day. Well, imagine that feeling of waking up and realising you've missed the bus, or you've missed work altogether, and the first 3 phone calls that you look at your phone are from your boss who's wondering where you are, as opposed to being that person that got up at 5 a.m, who got up, spent 20 minutes in reflection, 20 minutes reading, spent 20 minutes doing some self-massage and some yoga, and then went and exercised for an hour, and then went for a walk in nature for an hour, and then came home, and then had a breakfast with their family, and spent time
with their ones that they love the most for half an hour or so, and then went and did their day. And well, how do you feel about your day now? Well, you probably feel like you've already had a day well worth having lived before your work day's even begun. So you set yourself up for a great day, and you set yourself up for a great week, and you set yourself up for a great year, and you'll enjoy a good life if you've got a discipline that starts at the beginning of the day. Now, I do understand there's plenty of people that have achieved outrageous levels of success with very interesting sleeping patterns and daily rituals, but if you are struggling and you've not had any direction in terms of improving your mindset and you've struggled maybe with weight, or you struggled with discipline before, set up your first challenge, which is have an uncomfortably early time. Set that as the time that you're going to get up, and just get up and set yourself up. Put your shoes by your bed. Put your tracky dacks by your bed. Make it really easy for yourself to roll out of bed, get dressed in the dark, go out, and just breathe in air. Just do that as your first port of call, and see how your day starts to feel. See how you start to feel about your day. Write down the things that you want to achieve for the day. Write them down. Write them down at the beginning of the day. Understand what your action plan is. Understand where you got to be and where you got to be. Be really clear about things. So you're not thinking about these things on the fly. These are just really simple, and they almost seem simplistic. But meeting small challenges is the best thing that anybody can do that's struggling with their own mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you build self-confidence and self-respect because you're constantly overcoming adversity, no matter how small it is.
Production is very much the source of morale, and if you're producing, doesn't matter what it is, but if you feel like you're producing something, and so I say this to people, what's success to you? And they say, oh, well, earning X amount, or living in a certain area, or being able to travel, or owning my own business, whatever it might be. Everybody's got that grand vision. And it's like, so, why don't you feel successful now? And people have a range of reasons. Often they're excuses, or, I'm not there yet. That's quite valid. I'm on my way, or whatever. But, you think, well, the most successful thing you can do is get up and have a plan for your day, and to feel good about your day. You're in control of that. If you do it early enough, you can do it for anybody else. If you get up early enough, no one's going to call you at 5 o'clock in the morning to do anything. No one wants to speak to you at 6 o'clock in the morning. Certainly, no one's expecting you to return an email at 7 o'clock in the morning. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, you've already been up for 3 hours, and you've been able to do everything that's important to you. And so anybody who's struggling, just consider, do you get up in the morning, roll up out of bed late and turn on sunrise and eat something shit and then jump in your car and go to a job you don't like very much? Or, do you get up and you on your own terms and work through the things that are really important to you, so that you can set yourself up in the right frame of mind? Because even if you've got a job you don't love, you get to that job with an altogether different attitude when you're feeling right in your own mind.
Yeah. And maybe the reason you don't love it is because you're in a toxic frame of mind. So if you're in a positive mindset, maybe the job isn't the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the way you were thinking about it.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So So I reckon
it was a nice way to end. A very somber and serious way.
Very somber. Yeah, get up early.
I did think of a lot of jokes along the way while you were talking, but I didn't say them because it would have ruined them.
Just brought down the moment.
The gravitas about Ben Weeder. No.
Is that Ben Weeder? Ben Weeder was, he was like the semi-retarded brother. The Raul of bodybuilding. The Raul Castro.
So good. So good. Do you want to do the final goodbyes to the people at home?
Well, thanks so much to everybody who's been joining into the podcast. What you're going to see on the podcast in the coming weeks is a little bit of a revolution. We're going to be changing up our formats a little bit. We're going to be bringing in some fresh faces, and you might even see some improvements to the production quality as well. Yeah. We may even see some more neon strips as well.
Many as we can fit.
Yeah, we're going to go all out with the neon strips. So certainly stay tuned, because we're really excited for this next chapter in our podcast journey, where we started off just downstairs in the pod booth, Rory's pod booth there, and gravitated up into our own studio. We've really enjoyed bringing you this long form content, and we'd love to continue to do that. Also, though, we'd like to make sure that we're bringing content that's got huge value to you. And so I think our viewers that have enjoyed our banter over recent times will thoroughly love what we've got planned for you. And we've got we'll be keeping up. We'll keep doing this type of long form content. Don't worry about that. We love just talking for hours. But you're also going to get a whole bunch of cool stuff. News, updates, insights, profiling.
Free money.
We're giving it all away here. So it's coming from the Ben Weeder trust account. That was endowed to him after the sale of Flex magazine.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we can kiss goodbye to the Weeder Corporation never sponsoring the podcast. But yeah.
Were they sponsoring us?
Well, it was a hope.
Did you take all the MegaMass 3000?
I did suggest if they could come up with something even better, and they said we can't.
There isn't any numbers above that.
Yeah.
3,000 is as high as it gets.
we counted. We couldn't get any further.
It's no higher. We got bored counting up there.
3,000 was the amount of calories per serve.
Yes.
And so not that was contained within, but just one serve.
You
one
ate
scoop.
the tub.
Yeah.
The tub was made of sugar.
It's like one of those Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So we can't wait to bring you all of that stuff and more here on the Daily Combat Podcast. So thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Hollywood Matt Connolly, as always. So if you want to check out Hollywood Matt Connolly, you can do that anytime by going to the Hollywood Matt Connolly website, where you can buy some pretty cool merch and shirts and stuff. Maybe be the bicep workout that Matt developed with the cans of soup and a backpack. You might just share that on the website at some stage. some of his secrets to mass building. And also on the deep end, end with Ryan Bowen. So that's still going. That's every.
We do it when we feel like it.
Okay, so we're doing it when we feel like it now.
When he's free, basically.
when Ryan's not busy. Yeah. So cool. So the deep end is still very. What else is going on in your world? You got a few things going on.
We've got lots of things happening. Yeah. It's been good. It's been a very productive, exciting year. So so we've got obviously the Daily Combat Podcast is what we're on at the moment. This one right now.
This was the one.
Yeah, and the deep end with Ryan Bowen is it's all about arm wrestling. Ryan Bowen being one of the best arm wrestlers in the country, me being one of the worst, but one of the biggest fans.
Yes.
We have the same voice as well.
Hearing
this voice, this is actually, I borrowed it and I'm not giving it back. So Ryan had to get his spare one out the shed.
Literally, if you listen to the audio of the podcast, you don't know it's two people.
When you were playing it before, I thought it was me, and it wasn't.
You literally didn't know that it wasn't you. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's right. So that, and obviously the SA Titans Arm Wrestling Club, which we had our biggest training session ever on Sunday. It was I think about 40 people.
I heard 7,000.
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, it doesn't get higher than that.
No.
Right.
3,000.
We have weekly training sessions. If you are interested in arm wrestling and giving it a go, everything is free. We are running out of the Kilburn Community Centre, which is at 59 Gladstone Avenue in Kilburn. Dave knew that address off the top of his head. I can tell by the confident look he had there. Every Sunday, 5:45 till 8 p.m. You can just turn up. You don't need to pre-plan or anything like that. We've got all the tables. Everything is there. You just come around to the back of the building. You can't get in the front. The front is locked. You do need to come around the back. That's where we are.
Yeah, head around to where the playground is, and you'll see the doors open, and and people moaning and
yelling.
Yeah,
a lot of yelling. Follow that.
That's the one. That's the one. So there's a lot going on in your little world at the moment. So this is very exciting. Very exciting.
Good. Yeah, it's been very good. And we've got Garage Wars as well coming up on the 27th of August.
Garage Wars, yes.
Which is an arm wrestling tournament happening in Melbourne, which you are sponsoring. Well, Real Estate Agents Group, which is here on the shirt, also a sponsor of the SA Titans Arm Wrestling Club. So we've got some of the best arm wrestlers in Australia competing on that card.
Super
I believe they're going to be getting a guest appearance from a certain Mr. Stockbridge
I did hear
over there, which might be his birthday as well.
I looked at him and went, "That's my birthday." I think, you know what, we're going to Melbourne. We're going to go. We're going to go. We're going to Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I'm really pumped for that. It's going to be great fun. So we got that, and we got DFC 15. That's going to be at the Adelaide Oval on the 1st or 2nd of October. I think it's the Saturday of the October Labor Day long weekend here in South Australia, and so that'll be a spectacular event as well.
The Gary Room again?
In the Big Gary Room, yeah. So I mean, when the home of South Australian sport, and very very excited to once again be part of the DFC team, and some wonderful matchups taking shape as we speak. From what I understand, Craig Ike is all over that and is booking in some of these bouts right now. So that'll be super exciting. Some great up and coming MMA talent will be on the card, and some of Australia's MMA superstars will be headlining. So this is going to be terrific.
You're announcing at that one?
I believe so. Awesome. I haven't been told I'm not. So I'll just turn up in a suit
with the microphone of my own.
Yeah, if I see anybody else wearing a nice jacket,
taking them out.
Yeah.
Oil all over it.
I'll get Joe Brown to take them out. That's what I'll do.
Yes. He's been on fire lately, doing a fantastic job, rising through the ranks.
Yeah. Can't wait to have him on the podcast. So he's on his way. So one of the most exciting up and coming. I think he fights at middleweight, but he's not a middleweight. He's huge, and
he's a gorilla.
He's a gorilla. He is a gorilla. Well nicknamed that one, and one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet, of course, and represented Australia recently in Sambo in Dubai, and I believe he's elsewhere in the world right now. I don't think he's
somewhere
on
in the
home
world.
territory. He's somewhere in the world, rolling on a mat.
Someone's leg is being torn apart.
Somebody's
you hear a scream. That's where he is.
That's right. That's right. You can locate Joe the Vanilla Gorilla Brown by the moans of those people that maybe need him. A lot of exciting stuff coming up in the next few weeks and months ahead, and we look forward to bringing you all of it here on the Daily Combat Podcast. So we'll catch you next week, and look forward to bringing you more soon.
Bye.